Hello everybody, good afternoon. I hope you're well. It's the end of the week. I hope you've had a good one and you've got a good weekend ahead planned. Probably starting to think festive if you're like me and try and avoid it till about now. It's starting to creep in, isn't it? So I am doing a session about festive things. So actually yesterday we put the decorations up here. It's a bit of a mess, so I won't show you, but you'll see lots of pictures if you follow us on social media. We had our first kind of proper Christmas party this morning, a nice work party. Sorry, make the table. So today I'm here to show you how to make little macrame snowflakes, like so. All right, I'm actually sharing with you what I made on television a couple of years ago. I was on Kirsty's Handmade Christmas in, I should get my years mixed up, 2019. I'm the very last episode. So if you do want to go back on all four and watch me, I'm just looking at myself thinking I looked quite different. I feel like I aged a lot in those 2 years. And then also a super simple little Christmas tree version as well. So these are really easy to make. I randomly added that, but yeah, I made that and about 4 other shapes and about 5 other leather things on an episode of that. So you can call it As Seen on TV. Right, so I'm going to assume that you don't know macrame, so I'm going to teach you some knots nice and slowly. And then just whilst I remember, we've got lots of videos on our YouTube page about macrame. I was pretty obsessed with it a couple of years ago. So this video and a video making this and actually 2 other things, this and this, are all on our YouTube. And I actually watched it last night. My friend Sophie made the videos for me and they're like so good. They're so much better than anything I would make. So I'd highly recommend watching them. It was nice to watch them last night and think of her. She's got a nice fancy job now. Right, so I'm just going to sit over here and then hopefully you'll be able to see me is the plan. Let's have a little look how this is going to work. I'm just trying to, the silly like left right thing is always a little bit confusing with these. So if I sit like this, that might be okay. Right, left. So you're looking at it on the left. I think that might do actually. I might just stay in the seat. We'll see how we get. And hi, Annette and Irene. So we'll start with this one actually. We'll start with this little macrame snowflake, and hopefully you can see that they're like 6 little sections. So they're all actually identical. This is the same as this, which is the same as this. All right. So you actually, once you learn how to do it once, you get to repeat it 6 times and you get a little macrame, a little snowflake. Now, the first thing you need to get hold of is some sort of loop. Now, we buy these little loops. They're 2 inches big, but you might be able to custom something at home. Maybe if you've got some wire, or maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something like plastic packaging wise that you could probably fashion. And it doesn't have to be 2 inches wide. You could choose a different size. Everything is editable. I've done dream catchers that are the size of hula hoops. So you can decide what you do. And then the length of each of these strands, there's 24 strands of string on these, and each string is 30 centimeters long. So quite long, actually. The rope that we use is this stuff here. So I get this from Bobini, which is a lovely Polish company. The reason I like it is that, sorry, I've been doing stuff with dyes, my fingers are gross, is that it unravels. That's what you're looking for. So you're looking for a twisted rope rather than your classic kind of woven rope. Otherwise you won't be able to achieve those lovely feathered edges, although they do need a bit of tinkering, like where I've been playing with this. I need to give it a bit of a tidy up now. But yes, so a twisted rope. And like I said, this is the 1.5. It's also got like a little gold shimmer in it, which makes it nice for Christmas. So I'm not going to cut the 24 times 30 centimeters today. I'm going to fake it with this big version of it, because what I'm here mostly to show you is how to do it. Okay, so whatever size loop you've got, you're going to be attaching it to a surface. So I'm just using brown tape just because it's what I had to hand. You can use sellotape or masking tape or whatever, and that'll just make life a little bit easier. All right, macrame is made up from 4 strands. Okay, so you're always just going to be using 4 strands at a time. Pretty much every knot in macrame is 4 strands. Sorry, I haven't shown you how I've attached these. Let me just take them off. Sorry, I'm just assuming everyone knows that. Okay. So to do a lark's head knot, so you'd have your 30cm pieces, you'd have 24 of them. Obviously these are a little bit longer because everything I've had to scale up to match the loop that I'm using. And then you just loop it underneath your ring that you find, and then you pass it through like so. Now I've instantly noticed that I must have obviously done the others on the other side because they look different. These ones have got the little bit raised up. So I'm just going to actually apply that slightly different. I'm going to put the loop over the top and then I'm going to pass the ends through. It doesn't matter which way you do it because obviously whichever one you feel is more comfortable, and then you can flip it over afterwards because I like the look when these little ridges are on the top like this. On the other side, they're quite flat. So I always try and aim to have everything facing that way. So that one was called a lark's head knot, which is quite convenient. My little business is called Lark. Okay, so with your 4 strands, let's have a little look. A few people are saying things. Yes, great. Sally's here and she loves macrame. So hopefully you'll like this. I've just been making these this morning. I love them. I think I'm going to be a bit obsessed by them because they're pretty quick. They're very quick to make. So you got your 4 strands. The 2 in the middle, we're going to call your lazy strands. They're going to do nothing at all. They're just going to sit through the middle. And then the 2 on the right and the left, we're going to call your busy strands. Okay, they're going to do all the hard work. So with the strand that's on your left-hand side, you make a shape like a number 4. If you can see, I can't figure out whether you're seeing this correctly or not, but it doesn't really matter if you're seeing this the other way around because you ultimately have to do it the other way around. So feel free to listen to what I'm saying or watch what I'm doing. Either one will get you the same results, okay? So you put this one over and make a shape like a 4, okay? Then on top of that, you put the opposite side, so in my case, the right-hand side over the top, okay? So can you see that? So you've got a shape like a number 4, and then this one is over the top. And then all we're going to do is we're going to pass this underneath the 2 lazies and pull it through the center of the 4, like so. All right, then you're just going to tighten those up. So generally best if you pull them horizontally, and then you're just going to raise them all the way to the top. Okay, I'll do it one more time. I know it's a video and you can watch it again, but sometimes that's a pain. So I'll do it a little bit faster this time. 2 lazy strands, which is the middle 2 of a set of 4. Left hand one, making that into the shape of a 4. Then right hand one must go over the top of the arm of the 4. That's the most important thing and the biggest mistake that beginners make. And then taking the end of your right hand one, pass it underneath your lazies and then raise it up. You'll notice I'm kind of make sure these stay straight. Your lazies need to stay straight and your busies need to be pulled horizontally. Now that sounds like a lot of information, but honestly, within no time, you'll be doing it really fast. Okay, then it isn't actually a square knot as one part. It needs to be like it would just fall out if you left it like this. So we need to secure it and finish it to make it an actual square knot, which ends up looking like a little box. So we're going to do a backwards number 4. So in my case, that's the right hand side here. And then taking the left hand one and putting that one this side. So we've got a backwards number 4 over the 2 lazies. And then the left hand one is over the arm of the 4. That's the one that's coming underneath and through the center of the 4. And then you just pull them up, 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 up. And there we have a square knot. Okay, again, I'll just do it one more time. Backwards number 4, left hand one over the top, and then raising that up through the center of the 4 and then closing them. When you'll want to know probably like how tight to do them. My top tip is that you stop when you can no longer see any space or air through them. You don't want them to be too loose and you don't want them to be super tight, otherwise they lose their definition. All right, so that currently is, if we go back to this, you've currently done that bit and that bit. You've done 2 square knots and you've also done the lark's head, obviously. So we've got this little bit to go. But obviously, when you were doing this, you would do that 6 times. So with every set of 4. So remembering that was 24 pieces at 30 centimeters each. So to make it into a triangle, I want you to discard the 2 on the right and discard the 2 on the left. So you're left with just 4 in the middle. Okay, so again, exactly the same. 2 in the middle are your lazies. Left hand one is making a shape of a number 4. Right hand one over the top, and that's the one that's going through and being pulled up. This chunky rope that I'm using is the stuff that's also I use for this necklace, and I accidentally put it in, I rolled it up into balls and it's all gone horrible. I didn't think, so I've kind of had to discard it. So I'm glad that it's living again as a demonstration. So backwards number 4, over the top of the arm, and then the left hand one is the one that gets pulled through. All right, and then we have a little triangle. All right, so you could actually stop at that point, to be honest, and you would have like tiny little snowflakes. So I'm going to teach, but I want to teach you this half hitch, which is a super important knot in macrame. It's a little bit tricky to understand. You'll probably have to try it a few times. But once you've got it, it's a really nice one. It is quite fiddly on something that small. So you might want to try on something big first, just to mess around, and then try small afterwards. So we're going to divide our strands. Okay, so we're going to have 4 on the right and 4 on the left. Okay, I'm going to do these 4 first, the 4 on my left. What I'm going to do is this one on the far left, I'm going to use that as the anchor. That's going to kind of run through the middle of all those wraparounds. It's kind of a close-up of something a little bit bigger to show you what it looks like, is this little kind of caterpillar looking thing here. All right, so it's got thread wrapped around it. So what we're going to do is these 3 are going to kind of wrap around this anchor 2 times each to make that effect. I'm going to start from the second one along, and then I'm going to do this one, then I'm going to do this one. Okay, so the first time I'm going to put it on the space in the left, which feels a little bit unnatural because you feel like you should put it on this side, I think, but you put it in this space here. So you're just looping it round, making sure you keep a tight hold on that anchor. Make sure you don't mix these 2 strands up. Make sure the anchor always travels through the middle. So all I did is just flipped it in there, and I've wrapped it around that once there. Okay. The second time is basically a knot. So you do like a little U shape, and then you pass the end through, and then you raise that up. What I'm doing is very gentle with my hands. Okay. I'm not kind of pulling and pushing it. I'm being actually very gentle with my hands. So the same process again. Next strand going into the space on the left. My hand's covering it, it's quite hard to show. Like so. All right, so that's literally just been wrapped around. And the second time, I do a little U shape, and then I pass it under and through. And there's number 2. And again, I'm just kind of tinkering with it to get it to where I want it to be. Third and final time. So it's the third strand I've passed. And first time is I'm just looping it over, just dropping that off. That's just kind of there for effect. And then the second time is actually knotting it, securing it in place. So doing a little U shape. You know, so I'm just pulling on that anchor. I'm pulling it in the direction I want it to kind of end up in. And then that's sitting on top. I'll try and make this so it's a little bit easier to see because I'm facing away now, so it might be a bit easier. So you've got your anchor, which is your furthest one from the outside. You're taking it in the direction you want it to be, which in this case is a little line towards the center. And then each of these 3, as it passes, are going to wrap around it twice. So number 1, I'm wrapping it in, I'm just looping it into the space on its right-hand side this time. So it's kind of the opposite to last time. Last time it was on the left-hand side. So I'm just dropping that off by there. The second time, I'm making a little U. I'm popping it inside itself, and then I'm tightening it, moving it along gently so it sits there. What people find difficult about this process, so over to the right first time, is to get them even. They find it looks often a bit ugly for the first couple of times, but I would recommend you persevere, like I said, but do maybe have a little practice first, so you don't, although you can undo things in macrame, which is a good thing about it. Final one, space on the left, loop it round, pop it in position, U shape, pass it through, and make sure it sits nicely there. All right. The final thing is that you can put these two together and you can just choose one to be the anchor and one to be the wraparound. So I'm just going to choose whatever just fell into place there. So I'm just doing one extra wraparound there. And then I'm just going to do one little U. All right, so I'm just treating it like a fourth one. Okay, and then I've got one of my little components. So that there, ooh, okay, I never get this camera right, would be one of those. And then I would repeat it for all the 6 pieces around there. Now, obviously, then I've got these lovely, I'll show my face for a second, here. I've got these lovely frayed edges on it. That does actually take a little bit longer than you imagined to go out the logo. I actually use a dog brush. I don't actually use it on my dog as well, although she does need it today, to be honest. So I find these really useful because you've obviously got this nice metal edge. I'll just come back down to the camera. I'll do a bit bigger one because that's quite hard to see. I'll do this bigger one that I've made before, just to show you the technique. This one actually needs a tidy up as well. So what you do is when you finish with it, actually, let me do it on some stuff that hasn't been used so you can see. When you first start brushing it, I often use the metal bit and I just kind of try and unravel those strands. And then I use the soft side and I brush away until they're nice and straight and nice and flat. So it is quite the commitment. It's quite a nice task. The one thing you'll notice I'm doing is with my other hand, I'm holding everything because what I don't want to do is pull out any knots or kind of rearrange any knots. It is quite therapeutic. So that's my metal brush. You see the difference already? And then I go round and I do the soft brush to kind of finish it off. What you always then have to do is just go round with a good pair of scissors and snip bits off, a bit like cutting a fringe. Take it slowly, try not to jump in and cut too much off straight away, because obviously you can't go back once you cut it. So yeah, I'll finish that off a bit later, but that would be the same process for this little mini one here. Lots of brushing all the way around. I would definitely save it till the end and you can just brush it all at the same time. Now, it won't naturally stick by itself, stay erect. So what you can do, you can use hairspray. I've also tried using PVA glue with a bit of water in a spray bottle. But the actual thing that you should probably use is spray starch. So I get this from Wilko. And just spray it on. Sometimes I add a bit of hairdryer to speed it up. I put it on the front, I put it on the back, and then it stays up. And then, till next year when you might have to tidy it up again. Okay, I think you're all ready for the Christmas tree. I think that made everyone a little bit excited, and always something that's quick is always high on my agenda too. So I tried making it with 2 different types of rope. I think I do prefer this one, but I will quickly show you how to do this one, just in case you've got this sort of rope at home. So this sort of rope is, for me, I've got 5mm twisted rope here. Okay, so I was able to brush it out. And then this one was 5mm again, and it was the woven rope by Bobini. And again, that doesn't brush out. Don't pick the wrong one up, but you know what I mean. That one doesn't pick up. So here we go. Let's do the woven rope one first. The measurements of the things I need are 1 at 30 centimeters. You can tell that I don't measure anything, so that was about the length of a ruler. And then 1.2 meters, so 1 plus 2, 1.2 meters for the other piece of rope. So just 2 pieces of rope needed, 1 at 30, 1 at 1.2. Oh, here we go. Janice has said there's also something called Stiff and Quick, which is a lot better. So I might even look into that myself because I do find the starch a little bit slow and a few layers. So thanks for that, Janice. Right, let's make a Christmas tree. So all I do is I put my 30 centimeter piece on my table, and I'm just going to sellotape, or in my case, brown tape, the tip, just so nice and clear, to the table. All right, you could also use a pin and a bit of foam or something. You just need to secure the top end, the folded end, to the table. Otherwise, it'll be a total pain. Fold your 1.2 meter piece in half. and place it underneath the top, just below your sellotape. All right, so I've got about 60 centimeters on the right and about 60 centimeters on the left. The first knot is the hardest because it's all a little bit wobbly, but after that, this is super easy. So I'm just doing the same knot again. So it's that square knot. So I'm making a kind of shape of a number 4 with the one on the left, and then I'm making a shape, putting the right-hand side, over the arm of the 4, like that. And then that's the one, the right-hand side one, that I'm going underneath the lazies and I'm pulling through. So I just have to be a bit careful because, like I said, it's all a bit loose at the moment. But in a second, as soon as this is done, it starts to get easier. There you go. So I'm just putting it right up to the top. Okay. So that's the first half of my square knot. Square knots always come in pairs. Okay, so now I'm going to do it in reverse. Backwards number 4, left hand over the top. And then that's the one, picking him up and pulling him through. Okay, so he's come over to the other side. All right, that's square knot number 1. Let's put him down a little bit so you can see. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to do a series of square knots, and each one we're going to do a little bit further away than the previous one. So we're going to do a square knot over the top, popping that underneath and through. And this time we're going to leave about an inch there. Okay, space. Go backwards, do the second part, pull that. Okay, so I've done 2 square knots and they've got about an inch space in between. The reason I've got that space is I'm then going to slide that up, and I've made the top of my Christmas tree. I've made 2 little loops right and left of my little Christmas tree. Okay, let's go again. So square knot over, under, and this one's going to be a little bit further again. We're only talking small amounts, so this is now like a kind of big inch, if that's the thing, 3 centimeters, something like that. And over and under. Again, you could do it with a ruler. I'm just doing it visually. I'm just remembering it's a little bit bigger than the last time. Okay, and then sliding that up. That's number 2. Number 3. Again, if you're thinking centimeters maybe now, be about 4 centimeters, so a little bit longer than the last one. Doing it backwards. And then push that up. All right, if they do end up not being any bigger, you have got one last little chance to give them a pull before you do your next knot. All right, so my final one now. So quite a big one. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And pull that through. The last one's a bit fiddly just because you're running out of rope, but if you cut any more rope, you would just end up wasting more rope. So it's quite good to try and just persevere with it being a little bit fiddly because everything's a little bit short, and then doing a backwards one. But again, for your first one, you may want to treat yourself to like 1.5 meters, just whilst you get used to what you're holding. You do feel like you need 3 hands when you do macrame at first. Okay, so this is maybe 5 or 6 centimeters, about 2 inches. So there you go. And that's my final one. All right. So actually, I've thought when I did it, that looked like a lot longer than 30 centimeters. If it was 30 centimeters, it should have ended already. But anyway, it worked out quite well for this demo. And I also like to put it in a little pot. So I'm just going to do one more little square knot. I'm just going to have to hold this quite tight because my ropes have gone a bit small. And I never learn. Probably should use a ruler. And so just always doing pairs. So I've done a correct 4. And I'm just doing an incorrect 4. Fab. Just slide them all up. Makes the one at the top's a bit not as. Can you see that? Good, isn't it? So yeah, like I say, he's not as severe as the last one. Actually, I think I prefer the other one I made, but you get the idea. Is that you can maybe make that a bit smaller and make this a little bit bigger to make it a bit more tree-like. You then literally just cut off the bottom, cut off the sides, release, and you have a Christmas tree. Now, the thing you might want to do, obviously, is that currently, especially if it's going to, you know, it's a gift, or, you know, you're just a little bit worried that it won't last forever, you could just put a little bit of fabric glue or PVA on this little section here, just to make sure that it didn't like let you down and fall apart. That is a little bit loose there, but it is totally fine as long as you are just going to hang it on the tree. Rather than make you wait to do another one, I'll just show you what I did for this one. I did exactly the same, but I used the twisted rope, okay? And then when I got to the end, I cut all of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I brushed them. All right, so I had the loops already made. I brushed them all out using my dog's brush, and then they were a little bit uneven. So then I spent a couple of minutes just cutting them, making them look nice again. But like I said, I think I prefer the woven rope ones. I think they look a little bit more effective. And yeah, you could also do the other way around. This is also how you make like the leaves as well, but the other way around, with big on top, small at the bottom. So yeah, hopefully that's of use. And like I said, we do have a couple of videos on our website. If you did want to try more, we've got a video on how to make that. And that's got 2 loops, a big one and a little one. But those who are good at macrame might be able to see. It's just a series of square knots. And then this one also like a little dream catchery one. And again, it'll give you information about how much rope you need to cut. And that's also only square knots with the help of a little bead to kind of join the 2 together. But the video is really good for that. So yeah, I'll just see if anyone's asked any questions, because I've been so busy chatting away that I haven't really looked. But yeah, I'm quite excited to have a little look on Google and see if I can find some stuff quick to speed up the process of sorting these things out. I'm feeling a little bit inspired to make a few as gifts, because they're quite nice. And I actually have some up all year. Do you want to see the thing that I made for television? Why not? Yeah, I'll show you my little macrame, even though, like I said, it's a bit of a mess in here. This is the thing, if you do end up watching the episode. It's that thing there. So I just hung them all from a piece, you can see, from a piece of driftwood to use the fire hazard thing. So that's quite nice. There's also this option here. Actually, I messed this up. I messed it right at the end of the show. I don't know if they show it, but I was making a little surround for my bauble, and then I kind of accidentally cut the strands too short, so I've just left it like that. But ultimately, I would prefer it if it gathered at the bottom. So yeah, so you can check that out on Channel 4. All right, guys. So what is YouTube channel? But yeah, it's if you look for Lark Design Make, you should be able to find my YouTube channel. It's like a little blue logo with like a little bird, and lots of, we've got a whole macrame section, so you can watch lots of videos there. All right. I'll, like I said, as always, I'll check later, see if there's any additional questions that I missed. And I hope to see some nice pictures along the way of things that you get to make. All right, have a lovely weekend. Thank you, Virtual Village Hall, again for inviting me. And I'll see you again on the 25th, I think it is, where we're making little Christmas decorations. Again, I'll show you quickly. It's these little things. All right, so we're making these little like things that you can put little chocolates in. So that one, obviously someone's tried to get that one. So yeah, little domes that you can put Christmas decorations in, Christmas chocolates in. So yeah, hopefully see you then. All right, see you again soon. Have a good afternoon and weekend. Bye.